So the third technology application I'd like to discuss is Kahoot. I previously referenced it when I was talking about quizzes. Kahoot is another quizzing type application that's interactive. It gets students pretty involved. My students love Kahoot, and they're resisting quizzes, I think, just because it's new and different, but I think both of them have merits. Kahoot is very user-friendly for the teacher. It's easy to upload questions and look at the feedback data after students have taken the quiz. But it can be played on any device. It's not device specific, and it is a free application to teachers. And you can search previously made Kahoot quizzes that other teachers have done based on subject. You can also enter hashtag identifier, so to help other teachers search and find your quizzes if you make them subject specific. Questions can be uploaded and customized from your curriculum and adapted to fit the format of the quiz. Immediate feedback is available, and students can really get into the game with their competitive natures. A drawback to Kahoot is that the questions are projected on the teacher's main screen from the teacher's device, and students only have the answer options available to them. So that's a drawback because some students maybe need more time to process the question and they need it on their device. And then also the teacher is bound to their projecting device in order to advance the questions and can't move about the room as freely as you would be able to in quizzes, but they both have their merits. Let's see. Some students with visual cueing issues and tracking problems would maybe benefit better from quizzes than Kahoot. My goal is to inform and educate my teaching peers about teaching and learning websites and applications available that utilize technology that works with and nicely plays in a friendly way with Google Classroom, and will also help us to utilize our one-to-one devices that our district has implemented. This is intended for my colleagues in administration in my district. So the ISTE standards reflected in this technology are 4C and 7B, using collaborative tools to expand students' authentic real-world learning experiences, getting them to engage with each other virtually, and also using technology to design and implement a variety of formative and summative assessments that accommodate learning needs and provide timely feedback to the students and the teachers as well, and inform instruction. So Kahoot. I just love Kahoot. The students love Kahoot. It's a hoot. What is Kahoot? It's a game-based learning platform. It's free to teachers. Students love it. They play, they learn, they have fun. It's a fun-natured, competitive atmosphere, and the students really try to do their best because it will launch a first, second, and third place after each question, and you can see how the students are progressing, and they just really enjoy it when they can pass somebody up with their answers. So a question will be launched on the main screen, and it comes from the teacher's device, and then students can log in, whether it be an iPad, a cell phone, an Android, an iPhone, an iPad, their computer, any device it works with, and they will have the question and the answers on the main screen, and then as you can see, just the icons for which answer they think is the correct answer. They click on the icon, and then it will give them immediate feedback if they were correct or not. So you can create fun learning games. You can make it multiple choice, true, false. You can put pictures in for your answers. You can change the way you sort it. You can randomize the questions. You can randomize the answers. A lot of options there. And you then launch it and the students play. They can play in a group setting in the classroom, or they can play on their own devices one-on-one if you share and launch it to individual students. So after each question, it will show how many students answered correctly and how many answered incorrectly, and so the students get immediate feedback on if they were right or wrong. And you can pause the quiz and discuss each one as the questions go along, or you can go through the entire quiz and then look at it that way. But you cannot turn off this functionality here. It will give feedback to students immediately after each question. So you can use Kahoot to review, to reinforce information they've already learned, to reward students or re-energize students about a subject that maybe they're tired of hearing about it, and so you want to create a Kahoot to kind of liven them back up and get them excited about the subject matter again. You can also utilize it to get classroom insight on how your students are doing, what personal knowledge they already have as a pre-assessment going into a unit, or as a formative assessment as you're going along in the unit to see how students are tracking and accumulating knowledge in a certain topic. You can gather opinions, so it can be used in that manner. It can be utilized to motivate teamwork, because you can have your students work in teams. So maybe if you have your classroom split up into teams for different classroom work throughout the year, and maybe some teams are struggling, Kahoot, just a random quiz that's not really academic, but just helps build their trust with each other and their ability to collaborate, work together. It's great for that. Also, it can improve previous results. So if you give a paper quiz and they don't do that well, and then you do a Kahoot, it can improve their answers as they are maybe a little more excited and invested in thinking about their answers. You can also join global classrooms, so you can compete with other classrooms or other people. You can even have two classrooms within the same building joining a Kahoot and playing against each other. You can use Kahoot to introduce new topics and see how much your students already know about it. And you can also use it in PD sessions to teach your colleagues. It's a nice, fun way, icebreaker, to start off a PD session, or you can use it to redefine homework. So you can pay for certain Kahoots, but most of them are free, or you can develop them yourself. Once you log in, you can discover, which is essentially you can search for Kahoots. Right here, the three dotted lines, that is where you can search your Kahoots that are saved in your file, and then you can look at reporting and download that in Excel format to your files for safekeeping. So then if you search your own Kahoots, this search engine will search your own Kahoots, or if you don't have any on that subject, it will give you options for other Kahoot quizzes that have already been written based on your search title or your search subject. So when I clicked on Kahoots, I already have an accounting Kahoot developed, and so it shows all of my available Kahoots here. But then also if you search, it will give you more options, and it goes down below the screen, but several different accounting Kahoots that have already been written by other teachers. It will show you how long ago it was created, how many times different groups have played that game. You can like it by clicking the star. You can make a copy of it and save it to your own personal Kahoots. And then from there you can edit, and you can change answers. If maybe your terminology is slightly different from another teacher's, then you can modify it that way, or you can remove questions if you feel like it's too lengthy. 38 questions really does take a long time, and some of your students that are struggling may get discouraged after a while. So I usually don't go more than 15 to 20 questions in a Kahoot quiz. And then the third option, your reporting, you can click on a Kahoot that you've administered. It'll tell you when it was played, at what time, and the title of the Kahoot, how many students played, and then you can click on the download to download reporting and get key information on your Kahoot. This is what the spreadsheet looks like. They sort it by question number, and it's very detailed on what the question was, what the 4 possible answers were, what the correct answer was, who the players were, what they answered, and if it was correct or incorrect, and how their points accumulated. You can also, as you go down, there are different tabs you can choose. If you just want a quick summary of their scores, then you can click on Final Scores, and it will move to the next tab, and it'll give you a quick summary of all your players, their names, what their total scores were at the end, so you can quickly identify your first, second, and third place, how many they answered correctly, how many they answered incorrectly. So I had this slide previously in the quizzes, and we talked about the difference. Kahoot launches the quiz from the teacher's device onto a screen that all the students have to be able to see and have visibility to. And then on their own personal devices, they are able to click their question, and then it will give immediate feedback if they were correct or not. Quizzes, the host computer launches, but then every individual device will have the question and the optional questions at the end. And quizzes, you can make it possible that you aren't going to review any of the correct answers until the end of the quiz, so that students are moving forward with the quiz questions, and then you can have more of a discussion after the quiz about what the correct answers were. So my citations for Kahoot are here, and the link for our our district standards for CTE, and then my ISTE standards link.